Read, read, read. Read everything. Trash, classics, good and bad, and see how they do it. Just like a carpenter who works as an apprentice and studies the master. Read. You'll absorb it. Then write. If it's good, you'll find out. If it's not, throw it out the window. Never be afraid to raise your voice for honesty and truth, and compassion against injustice, and lying and greed. If people all over the world would do this, it would change the earth. You cannot swim for new horizons until you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. We must be free, not because we claim freedom, but because we practice it. The past is never dead. It's not even past. Always dream and shoot higher than you know you can do. Do not bother just to be better than your contemporaries or predecessors. Try to be better than yourself. Given the choice between the experience of pain and nothing, I would choose pain. I give you the mausoleum of all hope and desire. I give it to you not that you may remember time, but that you might forget it now and then for a moment, and not spend all your breath trying to conquer it. Because no battle is ever won, they are not even fought. The field only reveals to man his own folly and despair, and victory is an illusion of philosophers and fools. In writing, you must kill all your darlings. The saddest thing about love is that not only the love cannot last forever, but even the heartbreak is soon forgotten. Perhaps they were right, putting love into books. Perhaps it could not live anywhere else. How often have I lain beneath rain on a strange roof, thinking of home? Talk, talk, talk. The utter and heartbreaking stupidity of words. The next time you try to seduce anyone, don't do it with talk, with words. Women know more about words than men ever will, and they know how little they can ever possibly mean. Memory believes before knowing remembers, believes longer than recollects, longer than knowing even wonders. Don't be a writer. Be writing. I feel like a wet seed, wild in the hot, blind earth. Clocks slay time. Time is dead as long as it is being clicked off by little wheels. Only when the clock stops does time come to life. You don't love because. You love despite, not for the virtues, but despite the faults. If a story is in you, it has to come out. Dreams only have one owner at a time. That's why dreamers are lonely. Wonder. Go on and wonder. He had a word, too. Love, he called it. But I had been used to words for a long time. I knew that that word was like the others, just a shape to fill a lack, that when the right time came, you wouldn't need a word for that, any more than for pride or fear. One day, I was talking to Cora. She prayed for me because she believed I was blind to sin, wanting me to kneel and pray too, because people to whom sin is just a matter of words, to them, salvation is just words too. She was bored. She loved, had capacity to love, to give and accept love. Only she tried twice and failed twice to find somebody not just strong enough to deserve it, earn it, match it, but even brave enough to accept it. I decline to accept the end of man. It's easy enough to say that man is immortal simply because he will endure. That when the last ding-dong of doom has clanged and faded from the last worthless rock, hanging tideless in the last red and dying evening, that even then there will be one more sound, that of his puny, inexhaustible voice, still talking. I refuse to accept this. I believe that man will not merely endure, he will prevail. He is immortal, not because he alone among creatures has an inexhaustible voice, but because he has a soul, a spirit capable of compassion and sacrifice and endurance. The poets, the writers' duty is to write about these things. It is his privilege to help man endure by lifting his heart, by reminding him of the courage and honor and hope and pride and compassion and pity and sacrifice which have been the glory of his past. The poet's voice need not merely be the record of man. It can be one of the props, the pillars to help him endure and prevail. Once a bitch, always a bitch, is what I say. Pouring out liquor is like burning books. It's a shame that the only thing a man can do for 8 hours a day is work. He can't eat for 8 hours. He can't drink for 8 hours. He can't make love for 8 hours. The only thing a man can do for 8 hours is work. You can't be better than a woman anyhow, and that if you are wise, or dislike trouble and uproar, you don't even try to. Some days in late August at home are like this. The air thin and eager like this, with something in it sad and nostalgic and familiar. A man is the sum of his misfortunes. One day you'd think misfortune would get tired, but then time is your misfortune. The only thing worth writing about is the human heart in conflict with itself. Unless you're ashamed of yourself now and then, you're not honest. It's not when you realize that nothing can help you, religion, pride, anything. It's when you realize that you don't need any aid. Most men are a little better than their circumstances give them a chance to be. The aim of every artist is to arrest motion, which is life, by artificial means, and hold it fixed so that 100 years later, when a stranger looks at it, it moves again, since it is life. A writer must teach himself that the basest of all things is to be afraid. A writer needs three things: experience, observation, and imagination. At times, any one of which can supply the lack of the others. The reason for living was to get ready to stay dead for a long time. If happy I can be, I will. If suffer I must, I can. War and drink are the two things man is never too poor to buy. Some things you must always be unable to bear. Some things you must never stop refusing to bear. Injustice and outrage and dishonor and shame, no matter how young you are or how old you have got. Not for kudos and not for cash. Your picture in the paper, nor money in the bank either. Just to refuse to bear them. The best fiction is far more true than any journalism. A bus station is where a bus stops. A train station is where a train stops. On my desk, I have a workstation. She loved him not only in spite of, but because he himself was incapable of love. Get it down. Take chances. It may be bad, but it's the only way you can do anything good. A gentleman accepts the responsibility of his actions and bears the burden of their consequences. All of us have failed to match our dream of perfection. I rate us on the basis of our splendid failure to do the impossible. If I could write all my work again, I'm convinced I could do it better. This is the healthiest condition for an artist. That's why he keeps working, trying again. He believes each time that this time he will do it. Of course, he won't. The problems of the human heart in conflict with itself, which alone can make good writing, because only that is worth writing about, worth the agony and sweat. I'd have wasted a lot of time and trouble before I learned that the best way to take all people, black or white, is to take them for what they think they are, then leave them alone. An artist is a creature driven by demons. He doesn't know why they choose him, and he's usually too busy to wonder why. At one time, I thought the most important thing was talent. I think now that the young man or the young woman must possess or teach himself, train himself in infinite patience, which is to try and to try and to try until it comes right. He must train himself in ruthless intolerance. That is, to throw away anything that is false, no matter how much he might love that page or that paragraph. The most important thing is insight. That is, curiosity to wonder, to mull and to muse why it is that man does what he does. And if you have that, then I don't think the talent makes much difference.